Welcome back to the Prospect Talk podcast. Back with the boys, Danny, Doug, Eli, and Fernando.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Let's go. Let's do this.
Good. What's up?
How's everyone doing today?
It's been a good day.
It's all right. It's all right.
I think a lot better than from the last time when we filmed.
Oh, yeah. I'm in a better mood. I feel comfortable.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
happy.
I think it's a better day.
For sure.
Yeah, my fantasy wise, it's not doing a good day, but other than that, it's Gucci.
What happened?
So, yeah, what happened? Explain.
Elaborate.
So I got a $22 lineup in today.
Woo!
I was at
Big money. It's a big
I was-
baller right here.
I was at a location.
D Money. Making
Right.
an appearance.
Big D money.
You already know D Money, aka Voice of Reason,
Oh, God.
aka Mr. $22 lineup. So I was in a place where I couldn't make a switch last minute that Joel Embiid was playing tonight, and
You're in a little bit of a predicament now?
Yeah, I had Bolden and Brooke Lopez in. I was gonna switch him out for Mike Scott and McGee, which ended up being the better pick. But it's a little tough. But
Where were you? All right, I don't know if Eli wants to answer that.
Yeah, so let me just elaborate on this story because you guys, as listeners, are not getting the full story.
Maybe I don't want to tell the full story.
Well, guess what? I'm going to tell the full story. So, me and Doug, we were at Universal Studios in Orlando. We are in line to ride King Kong. Throughout the line, you lose reception just because we're in caves or whatever. So, Doug had no LTE. He hops on the Universal Wi-Fi. They restrict you from getting onto your FanDuel. So, he's pissed off. But on the Wi-Fi, we were able to check that Joel Embiid is a play for tonight.
Literally, like 2 minutes before, they're like, "Oh yeah, Joel's playing."
Yeah. So he's like,
wow.
damn, he's struggling. He's like, I gotta get him in there. I gotta make some switches, but he has no LTE, so he cannot make this switch. While we're in the line, there's a emergency exit door, and I'm like, Doug, you can just leave right now. That
was your
is
chance.
an emergency.
That was your chance.
It was an emergency. I
Doug-
feel like that counts, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely an emergency.
100% emergency.
You got 3 minutes to make a
$22?
switch.
Yeah, for a $22 lineup, yeah, you should have probably taken the exit.
Doug decides not to do it because I'm pretty sure he would have been embarrassed, like leaving the line in front of
Oh,
everybody.
he didn't want anybody to see him.
going through the emergency exit door.
So you pretty much,
He paid $22 to ride
To ride King Kong.
That's what
pretty
I
much,
told him.
that's exactly what you did.
Doug, was it worth it?
Nah, it wasn't worth it.
Was King Kong a $22 ride? That's what we need to know.
Nah, it wasn't.
I don't think I will pay a dime to go back on King Kong.
Nah, I've been on that. That's
As a matter of fact, Universal needs to refund me some money for wasting my time.
for wasting your
Facts.
time on
I'm
that.
gonna send them an invoice.
For the $22 you just lost
Yeah.
playing FanDuel. Nando, I know you were moving today. How'd that go?
Yeah. It was good. So I started today, moving into a new apartment here with my sister for a little while. So got started kind of late though because she got out of work late.
Bro,
But-
you are always moving.
notorious for moving in the worst times.
So we were talking about this the other day. I think this is my 6th time moving in Virginia in a year and a half.
So,
God.
since we're talking about moving in Fernando, I got to share
Oh.
a story.
Oh no!
You already know.
I have.
He already
to share
knows.
a
He already
story.
knows. Do it. Do it.
I feel like I'm Mr. Story Man today, but I got to. This one is like hilarious. So me and Fernando are actually helping a buddy move late at night. It's probably 1 a.m. or maybe midnight, right, Fernando?
First of all, who moves at night? Who moves at
That's what
night?
I always ask them.
We were just helping out our friend, and I think we were like, it was the last thing that we had to move, really. So
It was a couple things like his mattress and a couple other things. I don't know, toaster oven or whatever.
All right.
So it was the very last item. The door is locked. It was just a mattress. Okay, that is all that is left to move. Fernando grabs the mattress, and we were being dumb. Me and our friend, we go down the apartment complex, and there's a patio, and we're like, Fernando, throw down the mattress. It's our last thing. So Fernando's like, okay, I'm gonna count to 3 and throw it. Fernando throws the mattress.
Wait, so you guys weren't serious?
First of all, why do I get a dumb voice when I say okay?
Because it was a stupid move. He throws the mattress, and somehow it hits a 60-degree turn, which I don't know.
He threw it off and then it goes like it went
Yeah,
like
so
inward.
instead of going down or outward, the mattress went inward and hits the fire alarm to the building.
And pulls the lever.
It pulls the lever as well, and we're like, what in the world? The whole fire alarm goes off. It's just making the most annoying sound ever. The whole building has to evacuate because Fernando pulls the alarm with this mattress. Dude, it is, mind you, it's January. It is cold.
It was
as
crazy
crap.
because in order for the mattress to actually like hit the alarm, it had to be like the very edge of like the mattress and like at the perfect
So you're saying it was like a
angle.
1 in a million type thing, and
One
it
in a
just
million
happened to
type thing.
had
The
to
worst
happen to
thing
Nando.
ever. The whole building evacuates. There's parents and little kids shivering in the cold because they can't go back to their warm homes
So
because of
exaggerated.
Fernando. Because of Fernando
Only
pulling this
Fernando.
fire alarm.
Stuff like that happens.
The firefighters come out and they're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I have nothing to do with this, sir." Um, The
You gotta
person
talk
you're
to that little Hispanic boy.
yeah,
over
the
there.
person you're looking for is over there. But this one parent was so upset. He was like,
I remember that guy.
he was like, "Who the heck pulled the fire alarm?" Like, he was just so upset, and I'm looking at him like, "Sir, I agree. This is
Excuse me,
unbelievable."
sir, you're gonna be looking at that troll doll over there.
Damn, all right.
Damn.
It's just funny, but yeah, that kind of reminded me of
Man, that just
Fernando
adds
moving.
more to the legend of Mr. Basuda.
Mr. Basud himself.
Fernando.
Yeah.
You guys will find out shortly on this podcast. He is our funniest member on this podcast. Just with events that happened to him.
I just feel like, yeah, I mean, but most of the things that happened to me, I feel like I've been around you guys. So it's really you guys that caused all this.
And you're just the one that has to deal with it.
Unfortunately.
Maybe that's true.
All right, let's talk some sports.
Oh yeah.
I
Sorry,
forgot what kind of podcast.
yeah, we
were
went on
doing.
a long tangent there. Let's talk about sports. What do you guys want to talk about first?
Ooh, what to talk? AAF?
Yeah, AAF. Sure.
Oh yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
So that was really short lived, right? I had high hopes for that.
Yeah,
I
I was
feel like-
excited. You know, Steve
Alliance
Spurrier.
of American Football.
Well, I think maybe we're a little biased because we live in Orlando, and like obviously Orlando was like the kind of
Yeah, they
the
were
best
number.
in that league.
Yeah,
like,
they were the best.
And I know somebody who played for the Apollos.
really.
Yeah.
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
Justin Horton.
Shout out.
One of their, I think, D linemen, or was he a linebacker?
I believe in college he played linebacker, but I believe he was playing D line.
Yeah, he went to high school with us,
yeah,
so
for
that's
the
pretty cool.
Apollos.
Shout out to him, and I'm so sorry that this amazing opportunity got taken
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
So if you just want to give a breakdown of what exactly happened for the listeners that don't know about the
So,
AAF.
Does anybody really know what happened?
yeah, I don't think anybody really knows. I don't even
So
think the
all of a
players.
sudden,
like,
like
answers.
They just
couple
ran
I
out of
think,
money, I
like-
think.
2 games before the season was gonna end,
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh yeah, we're suspending everything," and they let all the players know, "Oh, you guys are getting paid up until tomorrow, and then you guys are
Yeah,
SOL."
I mean, they ran out of money. But I read that they had investors willing to invest into it if they could use only if they could somehow get a deal with the NFL where they could sign the practice squad players that the NFL had on their rosters.
yes, something like that. But it's a little bit shady
it's real shady the
because
way
the
everything
lead
happened.
investor, who actually owns the Carolina
The
Carolina
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes,
Yeah, the hockey team.
the hockey team. He was the lead investor, so he all of a sudden just decided to stop funding it, which is kind of
Yeah, but the thing about
They
it
probably just
is
wasn't
like
making money.
all these guys now don't have a paycheck. They were told, "Hey, you have a day in advance. You're not getting paid anymore." There's even some guys who became homeless. Like I don't know if you saw, there were some guys.
Well, I bet there was
tweeting,
a lot of guys that there
like,
was.
"Hey, now
that
I'm
was their
homeless."
last shot.
the worst part is they took away their health insurance, so the players who got hurt while playing don't have any
They're
coverage.
screwed.
They're
And
screwed. Like
they're getting no reimbursements or finance through the league.
That sucks because I felt like it was going to be something that was popular. I felt like the games were exciting. You got to watch a lot of
Yeah.
guys that were, trying to get a second
it
chance.
was an NFL level talent, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
but
good
you
players.
had,
playing.
Manziel just
in the
signed.
beginning, you can see there was a little bit of like a rough start because they had to build chemistry and everything. But towards like the middle there, it got pretty
Yeah, I
exciting.
feel like they
Yeah.
started
it was
hitting their
definitely the
stride.
G
Good
League
coachings.
of the NFL,
Yeah,
and it
for
should have
sure.
been a feeder system for a lot of these kids, which I think that's what they were using it
And
for.
exactly, they weren't. I don't think the AAF was trying to rival NFL. I think it was more of just
Development.
a development league as well as a place for players to get their second chance.
Yeah.
I
But
kind of think about it the
Even
way.
then, though, I think that the power of the NFL is just evident there. I mean, even though you have like players that are NFL caliber, even like on a second grade level, they're not maybe like top tier NFL players. the majority of people are going to be watching NFL games. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, it was during the NFL offseason.
Yeah. So
sure.
people were still keeping up with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
people were going to those games here in Orlando.
Exactly.
Those
yeah.
were I didn't get a chance to go, but I've been told by a lot of people that those were a lot of fun.
And then also, the people who bought their tickets for the last 2 games, they're not getting refunds.
Well,
I
some arenas are, some aren't. So.
Yeah, but I heard majority of them weren't even getting refunds.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so shady how everything went down.
So and it for me it sucks because I feel like they had a good thing going for them, and I felt like they could ride the same kind of storylines. Like, so I don't know if everyone here is familiar with the Netflix show like Last Chance U,
Yeah.
where all those like the kids would go to like that JUCO to go play football to get their second chances because they either bombed out of school.
Yeah, they were like
or-
the Patriots of JUCO.
Exactly. But their whole design was to get from those kids back into like a Division I school. I felt like the AAF had that kind of same storyline where
Yeah.
their goal was to get these guys back into the NFL. I mean, the biggest name, Johnny Manziel, he just signed a couple weeks ago to a team, was
Yeah.
it, or like maybe like a month ago?
Yeah,
I think he only played maybe like 2 games, and
Yeah,
that was the best thing
there's
that
a
could have
lot
happened
of,
for him.
Players who are getting signed onto like the NFL teams' practice squads and actual rosters. So
Yeah,
they're getting a second chance, which looked like it was a little bit successful, but
Is
I guess
the
it just didn't work
conspiracy
out.
theory that, Vince McMahon shut this down because the XFL is
the
coming?
XFL is coming.
2020.
So that leads me to my next question. So we've seen different leagues in the past, like 15, 20 years of leagues that try to have professional football other than the NFL. What do
Remember
you-
the European League? Like, I remember
Yeah.
playing Madden 04 and then being able to select a European team.
Yeah. So what do you guys think that means for future leagues that want to start something up like this?
I mean,
like another professional football league.
The Arena Football League's been pretty successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an existing one. What I'm saying is maybe the biggest question for me, I think, is the XFL. So, like, do you think that this makes them a little bit more cautious? Do you think they kind of hedge back what they
No,
were?
because I feel like the XFL is going in a different direction than what the AAF was trying to do. I don't think the XFL is trying to be like a feeder league.
You think the
or-
XFL is just trying to be their own thing?
Trying to be their own thing.
Like,
Remember, it's Vince
entertainment.
McMahon. It's for entertainment, really. That's what the XFL is.
Yeah.
Not really trying to.
And that's why I feel like the Arena Football League has been successful because they have their own little niche. They're different play style, different rules. So
They
it's,
stay in their
it's
lane.
different. Yeah.
That's the thing, though. They have to each find their niche because they can't expect to ever become like
the CFL has their own. They play 3 down.
Yeah.
Like it's different.
I just feel like out of all the leagues that were supplementary to the NFL, I feel like the AFL had the most promise.
The AAF.
The AAF, sorry. I don't know what the
I think the
hell that
AFL was a European team.
Yeah.
League.
Yeah.
European
it
league.
was.
I think the AAF had the most promise in terms of what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, they
You know what I
had
mean?
Absolutely.
definitely the talent, coaching.
And just the way they went about it. Like, I
Yeah.
think any league that tries to go out there and say, hey, we're going to be rivals to the NFL, I think you're idiots. The NFL's too big.
Well, the
Mhm.
interesting fact about how it actually got started is Ebersol, who was doing a 30 for 30 documentary on the XFL, kind of looked at what the XFL failed at, and then he kind of used that information to try to find investors and try to like morph the AAF.
The AAF?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope maybe someday they can get it together. And I really liked what they had. I really
Actually,
liked what they had.
kind of going off of that, I was reading earlier today that I guess they send out letters to their own
Oh,
employees.
hold on,
the
Nano. You
AAF.
actually read?
And then
You know how to read?
whenever they send you the
Oh,
letters,
man.
they said that they kind of left it in their under interpretation that they might look for other capital investments to maybe have a second season on it. And they said like it wasn't for sure, but they'd look in to see if they can restructure it somehow.
I think at this point they've already lost so much steam that it'll be very, very difficult.
And
I
they
think it's
lost
over.
all the trust from the players.
Yes.
And that's the
Yeah,
most
it's the
important
biggest
thing.
thing,
You
yes.
don't have
And the
trust.
coaches as well,
Coaches,
because
players-
coaches aren't getting paid anymore either.
My dog Steve Spurrier.
Yeah.
Arenas, like if you're an arena, are you gonna let an AAF franchise, play in your league?
Oh no, yeah.
I mean,
'cause they-
play in your stadium.
essentially they have to pay for the lease for that year
Exactly,
essentially
yeah.
to get that
Yeah.
time. So like I'm sure there must be so many legal battles behind the scenes of trying to get out of those contracts and all that.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but what can you do?
Since we're gonna talk about the unfortunate, let's talk about what happened in Italy.
Okay, so we're going there. Okay.
Yeah, let's go there for a little bit. We don't talk about soccer a lot.
All right.
Yeah, we definitely
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We don't. I know Fernando's a huge soccer fan. I mean, so are all of us, but this guy.
Yeah. So
Fernando's soccer
follows
is
the
to Fernando
Bundesliga.
like baseball is to me. So I feel that. So Fernando,
It's
just
the-
give a quick rundown of what happened.
it's the world's greatest sport. Let me just say that.
Okay, let's continue.
So this is actually involves the Juventus striker Moise Kean. He's one of their. He's 19 years old.
Moise
Um,
Kean and sorry, Nano. Also Blaise Matuidi, their midfielder. It was both of them who was actually.
Oh, Matuidi was
Yeah.
in this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Bonucci was involved after something that Moise Kean did. So what happened was, so after scoring his the second goal for Juventus, Moise Kean went to celebrate along the Cagliari fan section, and then he kind of stretched out his arms, and then he was subject to some racist chants and some racist.
Well, they've been
Ooh.
subject to racist chants throughout the whole game. They were like
Yeah.
doing monkey chants, which
Exactly,
is
monkey
known
chant.
in Italy, Italian football. This is
And-
nothing
and
new.
Exactly, it's so sad because it's such a it's a common thing there, and it's
So
unfortunate.
they were poking and having their racist remarks towards Matuidi and Keane the whole match. So when Keane did score that second goal, he kind of just raised his arms, looking at them like, "What now?"
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And I think
And
the
the-
most. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and obviously, they continue to react a certain way. And then I just want to bring in Bonucci on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I think this is the most disturbing part about it all. Bonucci.
right, because so Keane ended up posting onto his Instagram, I believe, a picture of him stretching out his arms, when that happened, and then Bonucci, who is his teammate, he's a center back there for Juventus. He ended up saying that or commenting that the striker had kind of like a 50% of the
Well,
blame.
this
on it,
actually
which-
happened before that. It's not even on Instagram. It happened as the post game commentary. Like he kind of just said it right there, right after the game, saying
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, he said that Moise Keane is wrong as well and should take 50-50 blame along with the opposing team fans
Why, for antagonizing?
for antagonizing pretty much.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't. Well, I know
Well,
how
yeah,
I
he
feel
got
about
a
the
lot of
situation.
backlash.
I don't know
you
how I feel about that comment. I know how I feel about the entire situation. I mean, it's unfortunately it happens in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean about that comment? Do you think that like Bonucci was not per se wrong to say that comment, or
No, I don't think. You said it was Keane that.
yeah.
I don't think
yeah,
anybody should have to say anything to him for doing a celebration like that with his hands up. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a very minor detail, and it's not like he antagonized them and they started doing that. It's
The other way around.
Yeah, it was the other way around. He was just responding to that, and it's not like he responded in a disrespectful way.
Absolutely.
Right.
Maybe
But-
it brought more attention to the situation, but
exactly. And that's what Bonucci was trying. Not that I'm saying Bonucci's right, but that's what I think he was hinting at more was the fact that like, why are you kind of being a catalyst? Why are you provoking the fans from reacting that way by you doing that?
Which is absolutely wrong on
I-
Bonucci.
I think so too.
He
I
has
think if
no
you-
business saying that.
Yeah, I think if you go the opposite way and he does nothing, what's
Then
going to
it's
happen?
overlooked again.
It's
Right.
overlooked
It's
again.
a
Yeah,
huge black eye on just European soccer as a whole, where there's these players
I
that
wouldn't
play
even
in
say
different
soccer.
country. Well, yeah, but soccer's been having a bunch of situations.
Soccer is probably the most known sport
Yeah.
for racism right now.
currently, yeah, where there's actual players who are getting stuff thrown at them. Racist chants are common throughout a lot of different stadiums, and FIFA has been trying to crack down on it, but this is definitely
But can you imagine you're a 19-year-old Moises Keane and your teammate publicly says that?
I think that's bad chemistry.
Yeah.
That's not something you say to the media. If you feel like that, then maybe you have a conversation with them one on one, like that player individually. But you don't say that to the media.
That's horrible. He's been getting so much backlash, not by the media, but other players in soccer,
He should.
such as Raheem Sterling, Memphis Depay. Like, all these guys are bashing Bonucci, which he deserves it.
100%.
Like, that's
100%. If
horrible.
I have a teammate that's dealing with some type of social issue like that, and it's being chastised on the field every single game, I'm gonna back them up any way that
Absolutely,
I can.
you need to be supportive, especially about something that's known and that's been lingering
Yep.
for so long, like racism.
And if I
Yeah.
disagree with the way they're handling something, like I said, I'm not gonna say that to the media. I'm having a private conversation with them and be like, "Hey, I get that this is your life, it's your decision, but this is what I would do."
And another thing is Bonucci doesn't go through stuff like that. Like he doesn't.
Yeah, he does not
Yeah,
relate.
he has a lighter skin
He's not
tone, so he doesn't go
Subject to those
through.
things.
Yeah, the racism chance. He doesn't really understand where the other players are coming from.
So I get that, but I also don't want to fall into the territory of that conversation. I feel like people do this a lot. And they say, "Well, you know what? You're not that race or you're not that gender, so you can't comment on it." I don't think you can necessarily do that. I don't think it's smart to do that.
So, I mean, at that point, you kind of think of a tiny bit of ignorance that comes out of that. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, that was what I was kind of
100%.
pointing at. That it's more he's ignorant to the situation.
and then he just needs to be educated.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can completely
But-
silence him.
Yes, but I
Yeah,
don't think
it's
he
not
did
the
it
fact
the
that
right
he
way.
spoke on it.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
fact that
what
he spoke
he
it to the.
said.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's what he said, because what he said is still disrespectful to a point, no matter if he said it to him or to the media.
So I agree, but I feel like he can. If he would have conveyed that point using better language, maybe,
Maybe it doesn't sound as bad.
and
like-
maybe not to the media, it doesn't sound as bad.
yeah, if he pulls him aside, like, "Hey, I understand. I'm so sorry." Blah 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 blah. Next time, let's just play.
But-
Leave it alone.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to fall into the territory where us here are saying he's no one to speak because of his skin color. I feel like that's just combating it with the wrong type of ignorance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I think that's not what Doug was trying to say.
Yeah, I was trying to convey it more that he's ignorant of the situation. So he shouldn't really
Kind of like what
like
you were saying.
chastise him for his reaction.
Of course, should not chastise him whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because he's ignorant in the situation?
Well, yeah, he doesn't deal with that. So
Yeah,
but-
so
Not
you
an
can't-
excuse, I would say, to.
what do you mean?
I don't know. I just feel like, yes, he's not subject to those things, but the majority of like level-headed people wouldn't, I guess, say those type of actions in that, or say those things in that sort of action. You know what I mean? Kind of like you wouldn't say that to the media per se, or you wouldn't really. Like you said, say it to his face, or maybe say it a little differently, not use.
I think you
maybe
and Doug are saying the same thing,
Yeah.
just in different ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're agreeing on this.
Yeah, I
Nando.
think you guys agree. I think we all agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was wrong. I don't think he was wrong in what he said.
He approached it the wrong way.
He approached it the wrong way, and I think he was wrong in the way he said it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. Yeah, let's move on. So, did you guys see Steph Curry got contacts?
The greatest shooter in the history of the NBA.
Depending
The
on
greatest-
who you
you
ask.
can't. Don't deny
Depending
it.
on
Don't
who you
deny
ask.
it.
The greatest shooter in the NBA history
Yeah, it's
was
hard
playing-
to argue against that.
was playing with impaired vision. I just want everyone to put that into perspective. It was probably not all that greatly impaired, but still as impressive as he has been throughout his career, he wasn't even playing with perfect vision.
I hate this whole conversation.
Well, just because you're
Could
a
you
Steph
imagine
Curry, you're a Steph
that
Curry
he
hitter.
can actually see.
So
Like,
well, no,
shut
no, no.
up.
So I'm not saying that because I don't think he's better than what he is if he does
Oh.
have corrective vision.
I disagree. I have some stats to back that up.
Let's hear him.
Okay,
So
Mr. Voice
before-
of Reason.
First of all, hold on. I want you to, before you say all these stats and get everyone excited, I want you to say the sample size of those stats
Okay.
and how many games.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So it's been 9 games since he got his new contacts.
Okay, so let's just put.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you right at 9 games.
All right.
Very small
But-
sample
but
size. We don't know.
Listen to this. Before those 9 games, he was shooting 43% from the 3-point line.
Mhm.
Since those 9 games, he's been shooting 48.7% of those.
You think it's because of the
3-pointers.
contacts?
Yeah, he could see what he's shooting at.
Hold on.
Or do you
And
think
6 of those last 9 games, he shot better than 50% from the
So
3-point
hold
line.
on. Everyone besides Doug, do you guys think you can attribute that recent success,
Small sample size.
small sample size success, to his contacts? And I don't want to hear Doug because I know Doug is the Golden State lover and he's going to hop on the bandwagon.
Absolutely not.
There's no way.
I think he was
Nope.
in a shooting slump. He was bound to break out of it, and maybe something.
43% a shooting
Listen.
slump?
Whoa, he was in a little slump before he got those contacts. I think it was a mind over matter thing. You ever get something and you believe it just because you got it?
Yeah, it gives him extra
it just
confidence.
gave him a little something to make him get out of the slump. And now we're gonna blow this out of proportion and blah 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 blah. Steph Curry, I can't stand this guy.
So
He's
once
a
again,
hater. He's a hater to
I
the
just want to
heart.
reiterate the fact that Homeboy has been playing his entire career and has set records his entire career, and he didn't even have perfect vision.
Well, that's what happens
The
when you
dude
gotta look
shoots
at Draymond
400
Green for
threes.
like 7 years. Your vision's gonna get worse.
This dude.
Damn,
Throw my boy the donkey under the bus from Shrek.
damn, that's disrespectful,
Yeah.
bro.
Yo, take a
That's
look.
even worse.
I'm telling you, take a look at Draymond Green and a look at Donkey from Shrek. You can't tell me they look similar.
I'm not.
And
I'm
then
not
put
going
Doug
to-
next to
Doug-
them, and then you kind of compare who looks more like
Doug-
Donkey.
Can I get you to tweet that out and tag Draymond on that, please?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tag him.
That's disrespectful. I don't like the guy, but that's disrespectful.
No, what's actually funnier? Draymond actually getting the comparison for the D's nuts guy.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
But he actually looks like him. Like I think we could all agree. Like
Yeah.
low
More
key.
donk.
So for all the listeners that don't know,
you don't
we'll
peep it.
post the comparison pictures on our Twitter later.
Yeah.
and we'll
And
let
then we'll put a
everybody-
little vote, and you tell us if that's Draymond Green.
Yeah. But speaking of the Warriors, I want to speak about something it happened, I think, like a week or two ago, but they recently just got fined for it. I want to talk about that game against Minnesota that they had against the officials.
Yeah.
Practically, that game was against the officials. So for anyone that doesn't know, I think they were down. They were down by 1. Was it, Doug?
No, they were down by
No.
4.
Yeah, it was 4.
And
At that
KD
When
hit,
KD hit that shot?
yeah, he hit
Yeah.
a 3-point shot and got fouled.
But I thought the shot after Steph shot. I thought that was what tied the game.
That is what tied the game.
Yeah, so
I
they were
think the
down by
one that
3 then.
KD
Okay,
took
so they
was
were down by
So they
3.
were down by 3. KD hits a shot off the inbound pass, and I mean, as soon as he catches it, he jumps into the shooting motion, in my opinion, and he gets fouled while shooting. Right? He makes the shot. The officials call it off. They say he was fouled before the shot. How this happened, I don't know, because as soon as he touches the ball, he's into the shooting motion. So that's strike 1. Right after that, they inbounded again. Steph hits a 3 on the corner, runs back to play defense, and on the entire way back playing defense, he's literally pointing at the official, taunting him, which, strike 2.
Yeah.
Then Minnesota comes around, last play of the game. Who was it that was curling to the basket? Do you guys remember?
I think it was Cat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Cat.
Yeah.
And, I get it. It gets physical down in the paint sometimes. But I think sometimes you got to let that play if it's just like hand jockeying. And that's exactly what's happened between Cat and KD.
Also, you gotta kind of put the NFL rule into it, where the ball was not catchable. It was way over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was another inbound that went to Cat who was curling to the basket. They were hand jockeying. The ball went way over into the stands, and they called a foul on KD. They were in the bonus, so they gave 2 shots to Cat.
Ridiculous.
He makes them,
Wanted to.
ends the game. So, Steph, Draymond, KD, they all take to Twitter. They all interview. I'm talking about they're comparing those refs to Tim Donaghy, the ref that was fixing games, all of that. Talking about going hard at these refs. The NBA don't play that. So the NBA actually fined them this past week.
All 3 of them.
All 3 of them.
All 3 of them, yeah.
So my question to you guys is, do you think those were all legitimate calls? And do you think that the way they handled it was right or wrong? In my opinion, I feel like Steph taunting the official only gave the officials more reason to call that foul on KD.
Yeah. So to answer your question, the calls were all bullcrap, right? I think we can all kind of agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely did not agree with any
But
of
do
those
they
calls.
deserve the fines? Absolutely. You can't act like that towards the ref and who knows what they said? Like, is there a mic? Is there a mic'd up that happened that we know what they actually said?
Not on the court.
Okay.
It was all said.
I'm
like,
sure they said a
post-game.
lot of
personal.
bad things
Yeah.
to the referees. That cannot happen. If it was anybody else, they would have got fined as well. So I think it is deserving that they got fined.
And to kind of to hit on Danny's point, I think that Curry maybe like pointing at the ref or maybe taunting the ref
Yeah,
or
you
something.
cannot taunt the ref.
You can't do that, but it shouldn't also change the refs perception or his style of thinking.
It
So the
shouldn't.
ref would have
But do you
to
think it
afford
did?
Yes.
It did, and that's
Absolutely.
unfortunate. But then that's on the ref.
To be honest with you, I think 100%. Because that call on KD was a weak ass call.
Guess what? If I'm refereeing, I do the same shit.
Yeah, I mean,
You're gonna mock me?
they're humans.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna screw
Exactly.
you on the next play.
Yeah.
You see it in
Exactly.
baseball all the time.
There's obviously multiple people at fault because the ref is supposed to, in that moment be very unbiased, make the call for what it is. But when you have somebody kind of like doing that to you, yeah, human nature.
So what do you
know
think about the NBA? You know the NBA does the 2-minute reports on the officiating. They actually said every call was legitimate.
That's just the NBA
Okay,
backing
so-
up their employees. That's all
I,
that is.
I think that they're just covering
Let
their
me
ass.
throw my 2 cents into this.
And I want you to speak as I know you're a Golden State fan.
Yeah,
But-
I'll speak from both terms. As a Golden State fan, I didn't agree with any of those calls, but I still believe they should have gone fined. The Warriors, I watch a lot of their games, and KD and Draymond especially whine a lot to the referees.
You can add DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I was just about to say that you can add Boogie.
Yeah, okay, I'll add Boogie on there. He hasn't played that much with
Steve
Golden
Kerr.
State.
Add Steve Kerr, bro.
No,
You took the
Steve
word-
Kerr.
I was mouthing
No,
Steve
no,
Kerr
no,
as
no.
you said it.
I know.
No, Steve Kerr, different situation. Steve Kerr gets angry when
Can we
there's
add
a lot of
Aisha
missed
Curry?
calls. Yo, back up.
Every single time there's a
Back
bad
up.
call on Steph, they cut to Aisha in the stands, like going off.
Remember when
But-
she said that NBA was rigged because
That-
they?
yeah.
Oh my
All right,
god,
bro, chill. Let me finish my point. So yes, they do.
Damn,
they
Riley
do-
Curry.
Don't getting snippy over there.
Riley be getting crazy in those interviews.
Are you guys
Proceed,
done?
Doug.
Go
You
ahead,
done?
go ahead, Doug.
All right.
Sorry for cutting you off.
So yes, they should have gone fined. Warriors are known for doing that, which is mad annoying coming from a Warriors fan. Going down to the 2-minute report. If you look at the rule book, letter of the law, technically, yes, all those calls are right. But you could call,
I disagree.
you could call like a personal foul on pretty much every other play.
Hold on. Can you explain what you mean? All those calls were right because we just kind of just sat here and said that. They
So,
were
no,
wrong.
I
So what do you
see it
mean?
as a bullshit call. But if you read the NBA rule book, letter of the law, yes, those are calls. But those things happen every single.
So the only
moment of
thing,
the
the only
game.
thing I take issue with is that KD catching the ball, he catches it, and the very next step, he's taking a hop step into his shot. As he's taking that hop step, he gets fouled. That is all part of the shooting motion. Because essentially, he's just doing like a sidestep jump
but
shot.
that's where the rule comes into
Yeah.
play. Where does the shooting motion begin?
So then maybe the NBA needs to start looking into.
Well, with that specific rule, the NBA leaves a lot of interpretation to the ref, where that shooting motion begins, where
The problem is in sports, you can't leave things too open to
yeah,
interpretation.
that's the biggest.
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. So maybe the
Yeah.
NBA and the officials need to start looking at defining what constitutes the shooting motion. Because if you look at it by eyes, it looks like that's all part of the shooting motion. And that's bad for basketball. If you have something that looks like a part of the shooting motion and the ref is like, to me, it really doesn't. I'm going to call it a foul and call off the shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think they need to hammer down that rule a lot better.
So I know we did not even plan to talk about this, but this reminds me so much about the NFL call with the Saints and who they played, the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah.
With
Right?
the pass interference, which
Yeah, absolutely.
for anyone that doesn't know, I think it's in the past week or so, the NFL now says that you can actually challenge
Pass interference.
pass interference,
interference
both
calls.
offensive and defensive,
Yeah.
pass interference calls and non-calls. So I want to talk about that in a little bit more in depth, but continue, Eli.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it kind of reminded me of that. And do we think that we're gonna get a change rule soon because of this?
I think
I
there's-
know
I
it
think
wasn't
a
as
rule-
significant as that pass interference call in that magnitude of game, but do you think?
I think it might come up in the league meetings in the offseason.
I think in order for it to come up in the league meetings, it has to happen a couple more times on a big scale.
Yeah.
So if it happens, let's say if it happens a couple times in
In
the
the
NBA
playoffs.
playoffs and people talk enough and make a bigger deal out of it, then I think that's when they start talking about that. That's, I
Yeah.
think, the reason why the Saints and the Rams call became so big was because it was on a big
National
scale,
scale.
yeah, big national
exactly. Yeah, it was on a big stage. So a lot of people were talking about it. So from there, let's segue into that rule change in the NFL. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's good because you're still limiting the amount of challenges the coaches could throw out there. So I think definitely should be able to do it.
Well,
As
you could.
far as
What do you mean?
Like, you could do it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with the rule change.
He's saying that the rule change of them being able to review those is
Okay.
He's
I'm
agreeing with
just trying
that.
to keep him sharp because I don't know what the heck he was trying to say.
so. Here's my take. I don't like it.
All right.
Well,
bye.
and I don't. It's not that I don't like the whole thing. I don't like the fact that now you can challenge non-calls. The reason why I don't like that is because I feel like that starts setting a precedent and opening up the doors for a road that the NFL does not want to go down. For instance, you start saying, "Hey, you can challenge non-calls on pass interference." Then that leads the road. It's a gateway. Then people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, that was a holding on that last play," and then some egregious holding is gonna happen on some play, and they're gonna be like, "Okay, now we'll review that too." You know what I mean? And down the line, it's gonna happen. It's gonna continue happening. And you're
Are
gonna be
you
able to
saying
review
we're going to
everything.
lose a little bit of the human aspect of it? And like,
Well, no, but if you everyone knows that watches the NFL right now, well, yeah, Nando's right. You're gonna lose a lot of the action because you're gonna be reviewing everything. But then I also think that if you watch NFL now, like there's a holding on every single play. Like there's something that
yeah.
that
But-
people know how to
So-
get away with, and if you
But
start
that's why I
reviewing-
think the limitations of how many challenges. you
Yeah,
get
so
per
it
game.
doesn't change
Yeah.
the limitations
Yeah.
of challenge. You still only get 2, so you have to be, as a coach, like, is this worth it? Also,
I get that, but let's say you have a 90-yard run that's taken to the house, right? That gets called, that there's no holding called, right? We all know that holding almost happens every single play in the
But
NFL.
holding's not on the
But it
docket.
goes back to my point that
that's
you
if
open
it goes there. You're
Yeah.
saying if it
you're
does.
opening up the gate for that to happen, though. That's what I'm saying.
I think holding's a little bit more different than pass interference.
Well,
Because I think
I'm just using it as
everybody
an
knows
example.
that it does happen on every play. So that's why I think you kind
I'm
of
just using it as an example. I don't want them to start saying, opening up the doors for being like, okay, well, now you can challenge flags. I don't like that. I think that starts leaving too much gray area. And like I said, you're going to start opening the doors to be reviewing
so
everything.
leaving that out of there, how do you feel about just the pass interference
just
itself?
pass interference.
Right? Because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then also,
I don't like it still.
I don't know. You might have to clear me up on the rule. Is it throughout the whole game or is it final 2 minutes of
It's
the game?
throughout the whole game, I believe. But I think plays like that can be reviewed within the final 2 minutes,
Yes.
just the same way all the other plays can.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
coaches could challenge it anytime as long as it's not within the last 2 minutes. That still goes down from
The booth.
the NFL. Yeah.
I don't. So how many pass interference non-call challenges do you think we'll see next year?
I'm sure you'll see a lot.
I don't think
No,
so. I think
I'm
maybe
thinking like three or four.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I don't
on
think.
big situations.
I think you'll see a lot. The reason I think is because there's certain games that just the level of intensity of and how big and important the game is. The refs let certain things get away and they let them play. We hear that all the time. Let them play, right? So you see a lot of hand jockeying, you see a lot of shoving, blah, 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 blah. I think we're going to start seeing it more and more, or it's going to force players to evolve to where there's less and less contact. You know what I mean? Where
which has already
But
been
remember,
gearing towards
so-
that.
What a challenge essentially does allows the referee to review the play. They still have to make that decision, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like VAR with soccer, right?
Yeah.
Allows you to review it, and then the referee still has to make a decision if they're gonna.
but the refs don't make that decision. The booth makes that decision, and
Okay.
the ref just
But the booth are referees as well. There's a bunch of referees in the booth.
yeah. But once you're on a national audience and you're playing that replay and it's obvious, you have to call it. That's what I'm saying.
But it's
As a
deservingly
coach.
called.
Yeah, as a coach.
Yeah, but it takes
do
away
you really
from
want to waste a challenge?
Yeah, so
it depends how big the play is.
it depends.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's what I'm saying.
I
don't.
think we have to do trial and error on this
yeah.
to see how it goes next year. How many times it will be
I don't like it.
challenged. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we have to kind of see.
I think
I
that
agree.
that rule is going to end up getting fleshed out more and more and more to be perfected because in the way it's explained currently, I don't think that's going. I think it's going to lead to more issues than it was before.
That we would have to see. I disagree with you. I think that I'm not saying I love the rule, but I do like that now. Hey, maybe we should go look
You
at
have
this.
that
Maybe
option.
we missed something. All right.
And I think that, you know, still being limited to how many calls you can challenge, that's obviously really important for this because you have to still choose if you want to challenge
Yeah, and I
that.
think that's what is key, Nando.
But what
Mhm.
happens when you have refs that are letting guys get away with a little bit more throughout the entire game, and then it comes down to the fourth quarter, outside of the 2 minutes, a play like that happens, and then a coach challenges it. Now that entire game, you've already set a precedent that you're allowing certain things to happen, and now you have to call it by the rules for that review. And then now that totally negates exactly how you were calling it the rest of the game, and it creates so much inconsistency.
I can see your point there, but then that's what I said. Like, within the rule, are they going to still give it up to the referee to have that judgment to say after they review it?
I don't think you can.
But I think you
I
can
think
kind
they
of
do.
apply it to anything though, because let's say let's just say on offense, somebody, let's say an RB just goes for like a first down run and then he doesn't
Did you
make
say
make
running back?
You
I
said
hate people who
RB?
say RB.
okay, so a running back. Let's say he goes and tries to do like a little run and he doesn't get the first down. Let's say the refs, they don't call the right call. Let's say for the whole game, and let's say that a coach, he challenges on the last play in the fourth quarter or outside the 2-minute mark. That's the same rule applies. The coach decided that at this point it was pivotal to make that call, which is why he placed that challenge play or that challenge flag. So I think that that limitation is still very, very important, and I think that makes the difference altogether.
I think we're just going to have to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a wait and see thing. Like I said, I think that rule gets revised multiple times.
Well, you know what needs to get revised?
Well,
This is kind of sad, but there's been allegations, right, that have been brought up about Kristaps Porzingis.
yeah, the
Ooh.
unicorn.
This is very sensitive, right? So I don't want to get into it too much.
Not until we know more facts.
Yeah, exactly. But pretty much, allegedly, he was somebody came out and accused him of rape.
Yes.
And they said it happened in New York while he was a Knick after a game that he actually injured his knee.
Mhm.
So I don't think too much facts kind of came out on it. Like
Nothing.
you said.
Yeah, it's still in the infancy, but I wanted to talk about it just because.
Well, from what I heard, the situation that happened. Sorry, just to give more details on that. After the game, after his injury, he went back to his apartment in New York. He invited one of his neighbor friends to come over. This is where the lady claims that she came over late at night to Kristaps, and then he forced himself on her after the fact.
So here's what I want to talk about. Not so much the situation and what happened, because there's no way to knowing, and who knows what happens with that. What I want to talk about is that the Knicks were made aware of that allegation before they traded him, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what played a part in them trading him?
Possibly. And Dallas was aware of the
Dallas was made
situation
aware,
Right,
as well.
Where too.
I don't think so. Not that much.
I think it hurt his trade stock though.
What?
You think it hurt him? Like it made him less
First of all,
valuable?
there's no trade
No,
stock.
for-
Trade value, maybe?
Trade value. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry, trade value.
You think that hurt his trade value?
I believe so. I think
Absolutely not. He's a 22-year-old unicorn. An allegation is not going to.
I think
hurt
his
it.
injury hurt him. Hurt
Yeah,
his trade
more
value.
than
I don't
anything.
think that allegation that hurt him. I just think it's interesting to think like, hey, maybe that's the reason why the Knicks traded him. Maybe like, hey, listen, we don't want this kind of attention. We don't want to be associated with this. That's it. You're gone.
So if that is true, that it's so sad because you see it a lot more with college football players. Most recently, Francois from Florida State,
Yeah,
the QB,
DeAndre
who
Francois.
was accused of rape or whatever by this young lady, and it was completely false and kind of ruined his career or any shot of the NFL. He was kicked off of Florida State. Then to find out he was innocent, and if this did make the Knicks trade KP or hurt his trade stock, as Doug would say,
It's really unfortunate.
that's very unfortunate, especially if it comes to be untrue.
So I kind of want to wrap this up because I don't want to get too in depth with it. I'll
Yeah.
just make one last point. Unfortunately, we live in a society currently where it's not innocent until proven guilty. You're automatically assumed guilty, and then you're proven innocent. So I could very well see how the Knicks would just be like, listen, we don't.
Being safe.
Yeah. Being safe, just trying to help their brand, being like, hey, we don't want
Yeah.
this, we don't need this. Like, off you go.
what does that say for Dallas though? That they knew about these allegations and they still took him on.
Well, I think that
just call
shows
them
that.
the Cleveland Browns of the NBA.
Well, no, I think that might show that
I think they just looked at it business wise.
business
Is
wise,
he valuable towards our business?
or maybe they just believe that much in Kristaps.
Yeah.
Well,
You know
I
what I
think what Doug says, business wise, it's Mark Cuban. The guy's
Yeah.
a shark,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe he. Do you think
sees
maybe
numbers.
he doesn't care?
I think he sees numbers.
It doesn't hurt because they did. It does. It does kind of look bad on Dallas too because Dallas also had that whole
Information.
situation.
Oh, in their front office.
Yeah, in their front office.
Yep.
With
Mhm.
women accusing
with the sexual harassment. Yeah.
about sexual harassment. So
But then you also got to think maybe like that Dallas, obviously, like they obviously believe that, Kristaps, possibly his side of the story, but they may have kind of taken things into consideration and possibly built a contingency plan to deal with this type of matter. So like, mostly it's a business decision, but I'm thinking that maybe they were in the line also preparing themselves for any public thing if that were to happen, if something were to happen to come out.
Yeah. Once again, we don't know what exactly happened. We probably won't ever really know all the details. I just hope that this isn't, what I hope this isn't the truth. I like
for
Kate-
both parties.
for both both parties.
and for Porzingis.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's-
saying.
that's-
Oh, I
Like,
thought you
parties.
guys were talking about the Knicks and
What's good?
the Mavericks.
No.
no.
Okay.
for the woman and Kristaps.
Yeah, who knows? I think at this point we can just wait and see. I just thought it was interesting that the teams were aware.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so let's kind of get out of this. Well, while we're on NBA, let's talk about the best player in the NBA.
LeBron James.
Steph Curry, we already talked about him.
LeBron.
Relax.
Yo, why do you do that every podcast? Every single time.
I literally cannot stand Doug.
Every single time we talk about something regarding the NBA, like the best of something, he's like Golden State
The
Warriors.
Warriors,
Golden
they
State-
are the
Or
best.
Steph Curry,
Like,
KD.
bro, like we don't want to talk about them. I've told you this, I think, on the last 3 episodes.
I mean, proven we already talked about them. So looks like you guys do want to
Continue, Eli.
So-
We're talking about LeBron James.
We're talking
We
about
wanna
LeBron
talk about
James.
a team of whiners.
We're talking about LeBron James and the LA Lakers. They have
Speaking
a
of
big
whiners. Again.
summer ahead of them, right?
Mhm.
They have a lot of holes, a lot of crap just going on.
Mhm.
And I want to ask you guys: is LA as attractive as a destination for a free agent as it used to be?
Yes.
Especially, and not just LA and the Lakers, but is LeBron an attractive player to go play with
Yes.
now if you are a free agent?
By all means, yes. So
Why is that?
I want everyone to really just put things into perspective, and I'm so tired of hearing in the media, LeBron fell off, LeBron this, LeBron that. Like, it's LeBron's fault that the Lakers weren't in the playoffs. Well, I'm tired of hearing that. This man still averaged 27, 8, and 8 this season. He still had a really, really good season. So let's stop treating him like he's a slouch and he's not that great of a player anymore and he's fallen off and he's past his prime. Because he had a good season. Yes, he was hurt. Yes, that team has a lot of holes. But he is still one of the most dominant players in the NBA, and that's still a position that any player should want to go play with him.
I think LeBron's just held to a higher standard, and that's where the media kills him, which sucks because it shouldn't be that way. Of course, if I'm a free agent, so who are the free agents this summer?
KD,
KD, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker,
Kawhi.
Kawhi.
Kawhi. If I'm one of those guys, I'm like, hey, LeBron's asking me to come play with him side by side. Let's go win a ring. Let's do it.
Yeah. Doug, what do you think?
I think next year kind of tees off for them to win.
But answer the
especially
question
with the
about
Warriors.
LeBron being attractive or the
Oh
Lakers.
yeah, let me answer that first. I hate LeBron, so I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I wouldn't want to play with him.
Shocker.
Just because of all the stuff that came out with the Lakers, team chemistry wise. I don't know. It just seems kind of shaky in the locker room. Trying to trade away your whole team doesn't look very appealing.
But is that him or the front office?
That's him putting input into the front office. That's his guy, Rich Paul, telling AD.
But do you know that?
Come on, LeBron knows
Come
how
on,
to play
nothing.
the game.
Do you know that? You don't.
He's admitted to doing that in Cleveland.
Okay, but he never
Okay,
admitted
but
to
Doug-
doing it in LA. Maybe that's all magic.
Oh my!
I don't.
Exactly. I
I
disagree.
think that's
I don't
evident
think-
in
I don't think
week-
LeBron goes there unless he has hearsay on who he plays with.
Yeah, but I don't think he has as much pull in LA that he did in Cleveland.
No.
That's
No,
why
that's-
I think
Cleveland, he might
went-
as well have been the owner of the team.
I think that's why he
Yeah.
went the Rich Paul route to get AD to force the Lakers' hands to have him traded over there.
I don't know. I think you're biased because you hate LeBron and you want to say that he's not an attractive player to play with, but he's still a top tier player in the league.
Oh yeah.
Any player that doesn't want to play in a marquee market like LA with a marquee player with pieces around them that are still good, like they still have good players, they just need a couple more.
Good players that didn't make.
Well,
the playoffs,
LeBron only
but-
makes you better. He's not. It's not like I'm saying go play with Michael Jordan and be second
Ask Kevin
fiddle.
Love if he made him better.
Okay, he got him a ring.
He got him a ring, but did he make him better?
He made Kyrie better.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So why
Oh,
Kevin Love?
Doug just got really silent. He just
Exactly.
looked at me and said
'cause
nothing.
I'm finna let him.
Okay,
finish
so
his
Kevin
point.
Love, yeah, his game kind of went down a little bit just because they kind of clog up the same spaces, and you saw the same thing happen to Chris Bosh.
But that's also because
right?
people
just
were
that position, power forward, is not the most shiny position when it comes to stats when playing next to LeBron because you kind of clog up the same spaces. But people like Kyrie Irving, Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole as a point guard,
people
Dude.
love LeBron.
you gotta
But
love it.
So
but
that's
I
why
think-
Kyrie wanted to leave.
But I think, but that's different.
Kyrie
And I'll get
wants
to that
to
in a
leave
second.
Boston.
But what
what-
did Kyrie say at
So
the
hold
end?
on. So going back to Kevin Love, the reason why Kevin Love's game dropped off wasn't because he was playing with LeBron. It was because he was the only man in Minnesota, and he was the best of a bad situation that made him look like an all-star year after year. That guy was never as good as he played to be.
I disagree.
That's
with
just
that.
bottom line.
But-
I do think he was an all-star, and I do think he was a really good player. But yes, that does have a lot to do with it, what he just said.
Look at Chris Bosh with the Raptors. He was amazing with the Raptors.
All right, chill. Chris Bosh is still amazing.
Yeah.
He's still a good player, but his game fell off when he went to Miami.
But
That's
like-
what happens
He
when
had
you
to
go play.
sacrifice because of Dwayne Wade.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
and
had to
LeBron.
sacrifice.
Exactly. So you just proved yourself wrong. Kevin Love didn't put up the
I-
numbers
I
that he was putting
I
up.
was proving up the point that LeBron doesn't always necessarily make other players better.
Bro, he went to a finals with Cleveland with no one.
I agree. He's an unbelievable talent.
Bro, no. I'm talking about his very first finals. He
Yeah.
took
That's
Delonte West to a
Literally
final.
no name players.
My boy,
I cannot disagree
chill.
with that.
Booby Gibson?
Bro,
We all know Booby.
yo, shut up.
You didn't hear the record he just dropped?
He dropped the record.
I'm going to send it to you
Literally?
guys. I'm going to send it to you guys. All right.
I would
Oh,
like
man.
to let the podcasters know Eli just took a dump on the floor.
Wait, what happened?
Boo.
That was a lame-ass
That's,
joke,
that's
bro.
his
Can we cue
record.
in the booze? Anyways, what I was just really trying to get to, I still think LeBron is an attractive person to play with,
course.
and LA Lakers, of course. I just heard this conversation, and somebody saying I wouldn't want to play with LeBron. Doug was in that conversation. He was one of the guys, as you guys can tell.
Well, I think the people that hate LeBron, that's where that conversation stems from.
That
Yeah.
and also the season, right? You're either blaming LeBron for the Lakers' lack of success, or you're saying it's the front office.
I think it's a combination of
blaming
everything.
both.
It's a combination of everything. That team does not fit well together. They don't have a lot of pieces other than LeBron. I think they have good role players, but they still need maybe a second, third guy. But I don't think you can say, "Oh, LeBron's not a good place." Like playing with LeBron in LA is not a good place to be.
Look at the past free agents. Kyrie
okay.
didn't want to play with them. Paul George
let
didn't
me
want to
say
play with
this
them.
Kyrie
as well.
didn't want to play with him because Kyrie was too focused on being the bigger man, and hence why Kyrie called LeBron to apologize for the way he acted.
So look at this. If you're a free agent too, right? LeBron just went to LA, and they pretty much have the same record as they did last year. You're a free agent, and you now go to LA and you help LeBron get a ring. You look just as good as LeBron because you helped him do what he couldn't do by himself.
Yep.
Because, I mean, let's be real. He can't really win by himself anymore. He's not at that age, and especially playing in the West.
So is that how you pitch it to another player? Like if you're the GM, is that how you pitch
Yeah.
to a potential free agent?
I love that you brought that up. All right, guys. So we're going to bring in a new segment into the show. It's called 60-Second GM.
So what we want to do is we just want to introduce this. We thought it was a good idea to do on a weekly basis. So give us your feedback of what you think about how this plays out. Let us know if you like it, you don't like it. But we think it's a pretty interesting concept.
So pretty much what it is, it's exactly what it's called. 60-Second GM. One of these guys are going to be GM. The other is going to be a free agent. The GM is going to have 60 seconds to convince the free agent to sign with that franchise. Okay?
So Eli, tell us who's going to be the GM and what team they're going to be a GM of, and who's going to be the player and
Okay.
what player
so
am I?
Danny,
Yes.
just because you told me to say that, you're gonna be the GM. All right.
I'm going to be the GM?
Kick
You're
it
the
off,
GM.
Danny.
All right. I like Danny. Never mind. Doug, you're the GM. I'm putting you on the spot.
All right.
You're the GM of the New York Knicks. Okay.
And Knicks.
Of the New York Knicks,
Mhm.
Danny, you are going to be Kevin Durant.
I'm KD. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm
so
gonna
get,
get the
timer
timer
out.
I'm gonna get the timer. Okay. Nando, me and you, we're gonna be the judges, the spectators,
Okay.
Doug, you ready for this?
just like all the listeners, and we're gonna
I better
see,
hear some good stuff, bro.
we're gonna see what Doug can do.
Give me a minute.
We're gonna give you a couple minutes.
I'm trying to look
You
up
get
the
acclimated
roster,
to the
trying to
situation.
get the payroll correct. You know.
We'll
Oh,
give you a
he's trying
couple. We'll give you a couple minutes. Okay.
All right, get prepped.
Go ahead and talk to David Fisdale.
Yeah,
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 I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give Fizdale a call real quick and just be like, "Hey, what you think about KD?" And then give Kyrie a call too, so you can be like, "Hey, I think might be bringing in KD. You want to come too?"
Hey, don't give him some hints. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
Come on.
My fault.
Hey, on a note, you seen David Fisdale do a little shout out to D Wade when he went to the Garden? That was pretty dope.
Everybody's giving a shout out to D Wade.
I know, but they used to.
But,
they used to work together.
Yeah. Fizdale had like a close relationship with D Wade, so like I think that's a class act. I think everybody's been handling that super classic.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, quick note: did you see D Wade curve Emmanuel Mudiay?
Deservingly so. There's
Mudiay
no way
asked to switch
hell.
jerseys with him, and like Dwayne Wade was like,
homie.
nah." I just thought that was hilarious.
Who did he give it to?
I don't know.
There's no good players on the Knicks, so he gave it to another scrub.
Maybe
Maybe
he
Mario
could have given it to
Hezonja.
he could have given it to DSJ, Dennis
Dennis
Smith.
Smith Jr. I think he did already.
Oh, earlier on in the season, right?
Yeah.
All right,
That's
Doug, you
fine.
ready?
Let's do this.
All right,
Alright.
Doug. You're gonna have a minute on the clock. Okay. Go
All right. So here we go.
Wait, hold up.
and
Wait.
stop.
No, Continue. Start it again. This
Okay.
is
We're gonna rerun it.
this is me in the act of Katie.
All right.
Continue.
Danny's
KD,
KD.
you should sign with the Warriors again.
No, come on.
All right. So we're gonna start
All
the
right, let's
clock. Ready? Go.
All right, KD. So we got.
Hold on. You're the bum that they brought to speak to me? Nah, I ain't signing with y'all. I don't think so. Get this dude out of my face.
Damn.
That wraps up the 60 seconds.
Come correct. No. Go ahead, Doug. My
I'm getting
bad.
paid like a GM though.
And we'll run back the clock one more time.
Go ahead.
All right, go, Doug.
All right. So we got 2 max slots left. We want your boy KD over here. You know who else we're signing? Our boy Kyrie. All right. Who you want?
Wait, hold on.
With?
You know you got Kyrie for sure.
We got Kyrie. He's coming.
So I can text him right now. He'd be like, "Yo, I already signed
Text
a
him.
contract."
Contract 35 mil per year. Let's go.
You giving
All
me
right.
35? So what you giving me?
You're getting 35. That's the max.
Oh,
right there.
I thought
2
you.
max players. All right. Who else are you gonna be playing with? You know, Frankie. He's still under contract. Dennis Smith. You got some point guards. All right, we get you the ball. Kevin Knox, good young player, gonna be able to hold down that defensive end. Mitchell Robinson, center. Good defensive center. You guys don't gotta worry about defense. Just worry about scoring.
Is that it?
I got time.
So you're gonna leave 10 seconds on the clock because you're that sure,
Oh, I didn't know I had more time. I thought we
and
were
you're
good.
done. Okay.
What do you guys think
Um,
about that?
Well, first of all, Danny, as a free agent, Kevin Durant, I should say, are you signing with the Knicks?
Hell no. First of all,
It's hard. It's hard to
so in my opinion,
get the Knicks.
if you're Knicks GM, I don't think you can sell the roster.
Yeah.
You can't sell the roster to the players. That's the
Yeah.
wrong
So
thing
that's
to
what
do.
I was gonna say. You kind of try to sell the roster, which
Don't do
is
that.
not sellable.
You need to
You
sell
have
the city.
Sell the vision.
All right,
and
so
the-
me
All
and
right,
Fernando are gonna
City.
critique.
We're-
A,
for sure.
you did not mention
guys
you
gonna-
have a
you're gonna be
first
playing-
round draft pick potentially, and you could possibly bring Zion Williamson. I would have definitely mentioned that. B,
sure.
I would have made the Kyrie Irving thing a little bit more believable. You're like, yeah, your boy Kyrie, he's coming too.
Yeah,
Text
that
him.
didn't sound that believable.
That
and
didn't
let me
sound
hit on the
believable.
fact that Doug, you understand you're playing in the Big Apple. You gotta sell the fact that it's a market out there.
Big market.
Yeah, man. You needed to be like, listen, if you bring a championship to
vision of-
NBA,
Mm.
if you bring a championship to New York, you become one of the best of all time. Like your legacy is huge. Blah blah
We
blah.
want your jersey hanging up next to Patrick
Exactly.
Ewing. We can see it
Damn
now.
it.
Like, bro,
Damn, you missed a lot.
you
Hey.
missed so much.
Okay, cool. So what do you guys give them on a letter scale?
Let's do a number scale, 1 to 10.
1 to 10. Okay,
One
go
to-
ahead.
And then
I'm gonna give him a 4.
Ooh.
I'll take that.
Doug, you would take
That's-
anything you can get.
That's 3 points higher than the past Knicks GMs.
Damn.
Damn, I don't know what to say right now.
I-
Nando, what would you give him?
I would give him a 5. I feel like you definitely could have highlighted more on so many other things, but just because you were trying with the roster, I'll give you
Yeah.
one more.
That's you never sell. As a Knicks fan, I can tell you that. Don't sell the roster. We got no one.
And you were the first to
You got
play.
Dennis Smith.
You were the first to play 60-second GM
Yeah.
and be the first GM. So I'll give you a little kudos to that. I see
like
you
giving him a
sweating
little
over there.
Sweating. I was
Nando,
looking at
you're
that
next.
roster
All right,
sweating even
next
more.
next podcast, you
All
are
right,
next.
let's do it.
All right.
Oh,
all right.
whoa.
Whoa, not we didn't mean
Not
that.
now,
No,
not
no,
now.
no.
All right.
No, we're doing one
All
of
right,
these a
Nando.
week.
Yeah.
Fix the San Francisco Giants. Go.
Oh
60
dear God,
seconds.
there's no way.
Next,
That's impossible.
Next podcast. Next podcast.
No, I like that. I think that was fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
It's tough
But that-
getting put on the spot like that.
well, that's the whole point.
But that's what makes it good. To kind of get that reaction like on the spot.
So every week, Eli will be coming up with a scenario for us to act out. So
Bring your
listeners,
game, boys. Bring your game.
Yes, listeners, let us know how you like it. Let us know if you have any ideas you want us to try to play around
leave
with.
comments on the YouTube page, Twitter,
Yeah,
Instagram. Just
tweet at
leave
us. Let us
feedback.
know.
I'd love to hear your thoughts for sure.
Yeah, if you have any tweaks to it, that way we can get the content that you guys want.
Or if you feel like you know what Doug should have said, let him know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you want to roast them.
Send in your submissions. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the topic of GMs and bringing in players, I want to talk about the extensions in baseball. Acuna just signed his
100 mil.
100 mil.
Woo! Can I get
Young.
one?
He's young.
Yeah. Can we just reach out to him? Yo, let me just hold a mil real quick.
Just one of them. I don't want 100. I just want one.
No, well, this year and next year he's only making $1 million
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
because of the way the contract's
Yeah.
staggered. But he signed a deal. DeGrom just signed I think a 5-year, $137.5 million contract,
Also
Much-
getting paid.
deservedly so. And then Keiko and Kimbrel still don't have jobs yet. They haven't been signed.
Crimble needs.
Both of them had good
He's one of the
seasons.
best closers.
So I want to talk about Acuna first.
All right.
Do you guys like that signing from both the player's perspective and the team perspective?
Well, for the player, you have to say
Player,
yes.
yeah.
You just signed a huge deal.
Well, I think where it becomes more beneficial to him is that if he didn't sign that deal, he was going to be making league minimum every single year practically
Yeah.
for the next 5 years. So he got an 8-year deal, which extends him 2 years past his free agency, like when he would have become a free agent. Saves him from having to go through arbitration and all that, and he's getting paid immediately, so he only has to worry about playing now.
Yeah, so from Acuna's standpoint, he smashed it. From the Braves, I think maybe not a home run, but a triple.
So where I think it benefits them the most is that they have team options for a 9th and 10th year. So let's say he becomes a perennial all-star, like, on pace, Hall of Fame and all that. They can lock him up for the 9th and 10th year for really cheap.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Especially because he's really young. He's 21 or 22.
Yep. Just won Rookie of the Year, so he's supposed to be having he's gonna have a good season this year. I expect,
there's a
as
lot
long
of
as he
promise.
Stay healthy.
The only thing with baseball, you see these lengthy contracts, and I feel like baseball is one of those sports where you can be great one year and horrible the next.
But unlike a lot of those other lengthy contracts, he's still a young player. And they're going to be paying him in his prime.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
For this contract and this extension, I think it was really good. But just speaking about baseball in general.
Which in baseball you don't see that often. You don't see guys getting paid or getting extensions until they're closer to the end of their rookie.
The end of their prime, I would say.
Yeah.
Usually most guys don't hit free agency until they're like 28, 29.
Yeah.
Look at DeGrom. Another guy that just got signed 5 years at 137.5. He's 31 this season. Just came off of the Cy Young season. He literally told the Mets, like, hey, if we don't get this deal done before the start of the regular season, we're not talking about it the regular season, and then I'll be a free agent in the winter. And then we can talk about it then. Which
Well,
up
when you're
until
the best pitcher in baseball, you have all the freedom.
Yeah.
and you have all the
leeway.
power. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
you
that point
have
you
all
hold
that
all the
power.
leverage. But the Mets were pretty much getting nowhere with their extension talks throughout the spring training.
I think the Mets suck at a general manager and whoever does that.
Let's be fair. They do have a GM, a new GM that's only been in the office for a couple months.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, I
Brody
forgot.
Van Wagenen,
They did just
who was a former agent, who was actually DeGrom's former agent.
Well, now the deal's starting to make sense.
Listen, he deserves that money. But what I'm saying is, they waited too. Well, they got it done, so it doesn't matter. But they waited a long time, and they didn't get it done until like a week before the regular season, and it was causing major rifts in the clubhouse. And
Really? Like how?
so a lot of the other pitchers were saying, like, listen, if you don't pay this guy, I can't trust you guys to ever pay me because this is the guy on our team. He just came off of a Cy Young in a historic season, and you guys are refusing to give him the money that he wants. I don't know if I can trust you, and it's creating a rift between the front office and the players.
I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So my thing is, a lot of analysts are saying that it's a bad contract.
I don't like the contract personally.
Why?
Coming from
Because
a Giants
it's 5
fan,
years.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
5 years, and pitchers have a very short lifespan.
Not true.
At their best, I
At
think
their
that's what
best,
you mean.
yeah.
Right? You don't.
Like-
There's a couple like Verlanders,
But not elite
Roy
pitch-
Halladay.
Not elite pitchers. Elite pitchers that are top of the game, they last a long time.
Yes, but DeGrom
But
has been
not-
considered one of the best for how long? Maybe
Yeah.
a couple years now, right?
But
Well, remember, he won Rookie of the Year in 2014, right? He had 1 year that was shortened by injury, and then the last couple years he's been solid, and then last year he just had an amazing season.
Last year's when he broke
Yeah.
out, I would say.
Where
Right?
you could
Last year's
really
when he
classify
became
him as an elite.
exactly. Yeah, I think he became elite last year.
I think no, I disagree. I think he became elite the year before. Not even. I think he became elite in the 2015 playoffs. The way he pitched, I think that's when he pitched himself into a household name, and then he just elevated his game last year.
I think he had a really good 2015 playoffs, and he kind of built from there. But I don't think
Yeah.
we were saying DeGrom's one of the best pitchers in the game in 2015. That I disagree with. I think for elite,
Does
I think
it 3 years in a row?
It's tough.
I would say.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5
Essentially,
years to see.
He has been a good pitcher for the last 3 years.
He has
He's been good,
right?
but I'm talking about at that elite level, like
Okay,
top end.
So he's been really good.
top 3 pitchers in the
And
league.
do you see how he's pitching now?
Yeah, he's pitching
amazing.
really good.
He has 20. Going back to last season, he has 26 straight scoreless innings. He's also set the.
the record, yeah.
He tied the record for quality starts with Bob
He
Gibson.
broke it.
No. I think this last start he tied it
Oh, I thought he broke
at
it.
26. Now I want you to keep in mind that the season that Bob Gibson set that record, the MLB, I think it was like the 1958 season. The MLB lowered the mound because Bob Gibson was just too dominant. The same season that he set that record, now DeGrom just tied that record. I just want to put that in perspective. That's the reason why I say that there's a difference between having one good year, like what Blake Snell did last year. Blake Snell's a good pitcher and all. That's great.
No,
There's
but
a
I
difference
don't
between
think.
good, like being good for a year, and then seeing it constantly build up where you're getting better and better, and then finally you hit that pinnacle.
So we're not questioning his greatness and
Yeah.
how good he is right
Right
now
now.
and how he's been.
I'm talking about
But we're talking about 3, 4, 5 years from now.
exactly.
Just knowing the history of pitchers. Nothing against DeGrom, and not saying he can't be, but you definitely got to say it's risky, giving a pitcher that
I
contract
think it's
for 5
risky
years.
anytime you give any player a contract over 4 years.
So do you say
Agreed.
that the Mets kind of folded on this because they wanted to lock him up and wanted to make
I
sure
think
that
they had no choice but to lock him up.
I think they
For the
folded
sake
on
of
the
their
years.
team.
If it was a 3-year, $100 million,
But he wasn't going to sign
He
that.
wasn't going to sign
He
that.
wasn't going to
Yeah.
sign that, and they had to get it done.
And I think that's why it took so long. I think from a Mets perspective, they were like, damn, we really don't want to do 5 years
do you
for a
want to
pitcher.
tack on those extra
Right?
years?
But then for DeGrom, you're like, hey, if you
Yeah.
want me,
yeah.
right?
As,
So
as a
it's
player,
really
I
hard.
would definitely want the long-term
Absolutely.
stability.
So, fun fact about how that contract situation went down. It was right before the regular season was about to start. The GM for the Mets and Jacob deGrom were actually in a hotel room in Sarasota. And David Wright, who retired last year, is now a special advisor for the Mets. And he actually spoke to the Mets GM, Brody Van Wagenen, and said, hey, like, I think I have an idea of how to properly structure this contract to where it makes sense for everyone, right? And to defer some of the money. And he got really creative with the way the deal broke out. And that's what actually led to them signing DeGrom being like, yeah, I can do that. Fun fact, while they were having all those negotiations, they were in that room, I read for like 10 hours. And they were getting hungry. And Brody's like, no, we're not leaving here until we sign this deal. Until we compromise. No one's going anywhere. So
Damn, he got it like that.
so Brody actually left the hotel, got them tacos from a 7-Eleven, and they came back,
That's,
and that's
so
what they had for dinner.
disrespectful.
And then they signed the contract.
Did he ever hear about what's it called? Uber Eats?
yeah,
Ash.
facts, right?
They probably didn't want
They didn't
anybody
get
to know
one
they
of
were there.
those?
Come on.
They probably didn't want anybody to know they were there.
Yeah, maybe.
I think for the Mets, they had to get that deal done, because if not, it would have been very bad for the chemistry on the team.
Yeah, it would have not looked good on both sides.
For the
maybe.
best pitcher in baseball to not get paid what he's deserved, I think you got to.
No,
Not
I
only that,
got
but then
you.
imagine what the
It's
fan
just
base
the
would have said.
contract length that kind
The
of
length,
scary,
yeah.
right?
And Nando's right. The Mets fans would have gone nuts. I mean, playing in New York.
Look at Danny's going nuts right now, thinking that he didn't get signed.
As a Mets fan,
Because it makes me upset when people say that he doesn't deserve that money when
No, I
I'm
think
not
he
saying
deserves
he-
the money.
yeah.
Absolutely,
Just the
he's the best
longevity of it,
pitcher in
yeah.
baseball. We're just saying it is.
but 5 years
risky,
doesn't
though.
bring him that. 5 years is not that long.
It is.
it is.
It is
He'll
if
be-
you're a
he'll be
pitcher.
35
That's what
then.
we're saying. Pitcher years are like twice a regular position player.
I still disagree. I think if you're an elite pitcher, the elite pitchers tend to last longer because they learn how to pitch without their velocity as they lose it. Finesse pitchers, which even though DeGrom has the fastball, he's a finesse pitcher in terms of his breaking stuff and his changeup. Pitchers that know how to spot their stuff properly know how to last a long time.
Agreed, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how he's gonna transform over 5 years. We think, and that's why they gave him that contract and took the risk, because it's looking more yes than no, right, today. But I would be concerned from a GM level, like, hey, hopefully this investment does work out. Today, we're loving it. But tomorrow,
So
Let's
keep
see.
in mind, DeGrom hasn't been pitching all his life like most pitchers. He actually didn't start pitching until I think his junior year in college for
That's
Stetson.
crazy.
And he was actually their starting shortstop. And when he got drafted, he didn't know if he got drafted as a shortstop or a pitcher. And then he became a starter in the
also,
minors.
I just wanted to say, my girlfriend and her sister went to high school with Jake DeGrom
In DeLand?
in DeLand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to a private school. And she always tells me, like, hey, I know this guy.
So with that being said, we have Keuchel and Kimbrel that still don't have major league deals, which I find...
It's
So-
crazy.
Keuchel, I understand, because he wants a long-term deal, and he's already older. And if you look at the analytics, his numbers, even though he's had good seasons, the ERA plus and all that, that's not where it should be, and that's actually trending, negatively.
Yeah.
So I get why teams won't want to lock him up, but how long do you think it takes for someone to give him a deal?
Until there's an injury,
Exactly. An injury or...
a team's starting pitching is imploding, so they want to take a chance.
Exactly.
Who do you think folds first, the teams or the players waiting to get contracts?
The players,
The players. Always.
always the
You
players.
think Keuchel says like screw it? Eventually, I'll take a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
He
I
has
mean,
to.
would
If
you
he
rather
wants to
take a
play.
2-year deal or a no-year deal? Like,
I mean,
Do you think
it's
Keuchel
not like
has
he's-
the Le'Veon in him? Is he built like that?
I don't know.
and look how it
Not
turned
at
out in
32.
Le'Veon,
How
so,
old is he?
yeah.
32, 33?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kimbrel signs before Keuchel
I do too.
because I feel like for relievers it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
You know,
I
they
think
don't.
they're more of a need.
Yeah, well,
than starting
100%.
pitching, right?
And
even
they-
if he's not playing in a closing position.
and typically,
Well, he will. I mean, you're going to sign him to close.
relievers
or
are
as
a
a
little bit
setup
more
man.
durable. You see relievers get hurt a lot less than starting pitchers just because starting pitching is so taxing on the body.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think that's interesting. I hope that Kimbrel gets signed. I actually want the Mets to sign Kimbrel. I know they won't because they won't pay that money, but they need the help in the bullpen.
Well, I think Krimble actually wants to go to a contender. So
yeah.
Listen, we're gonna contend. We're at the top of our division right now.
Hey, sleeper team.
Yeah, you heard that?
That's
It's
my sleeper
April
team.
5th, and the Mets are once again on top of the division. It's crazy.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, don't sleep on us. Don't sleep on us.
You know what I'm sleeping on?
Oh,
The
speaking
Final
of,
Four.
hold on, before we go about Final Four, remember last week I told you watch out for Peter Alonso? Kid's been raking.
All right. Well, since you want to mention last week's podcast, remember I told you guys about the Oakland A's? They've been raking.
Yeah,
They do it every year.
Oh,
every other year.
We talked about that too. They do it every year where they come out of nowhere. I don't believe that I don't think they're gonna win the World Series, but
No,
they,
not at all.
They
but
make a
If
push
you
for
just
the
look
playoffs
at
every
their
single year.
lineup, you're like, how the hell is this team winning games?
I mean, they got Matt Chapman, who's solid.
Chapman and
Piscotty, pretty
Piscotty's
solid.
Yeah.
Had a
awesome.
great game today.
Oh no, they're just not household names.
Well, you don't
if,
even.
if you're looking at comparing it to like the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees.
Yeah, but they're a
minus.
different market team. They don't have the
Yeah,
money
they don't
that
have the money.
that the Red Sox
They
have.
never had the money.
That's
Okay.
where Moneyball came
So
from.
I
and
thought I had a
sabermetrics.
really good segue. So let's
All right, go
Rewind.
segue.
My bad. Final Four.
talking about the Final Four. Yeah, let's get into those matches.
So my Final Four is completely busted.
Mine is not.
I have one
Like I
team.
said,
Michigan State.
I'm still
We've
alive.
been saying, me and Doug have been saying on this podcast, Duke is not what everybody thinks they are,
Yes.
and a team like
and
Michigan
we called
State
it.
will beat them. But anyways, I hate talking about Duke, and I'm kind of over Duke. So let's talk about the Final Four. Michigan State does play Texas Tech, and
Good matchup.
that's a great matchup.
I think Texas Tech wins.
You know what's so crazy? Like, Texas Tech has won every game by, I think, over 10 points.
They've ran through this
They've
tournament.
ran through the
Mhm.
tournament.
They're hot,
Wow.
Defense is what gets people far in the tournament.
but both teams are very
I have
defensive.
not
so-
watched one Texas Tech game.
Texas Tech's the best defense in the nation.
Are they?
Yeah.
Statistically.
I
Yeah.
have not watched
So-
one Texas Tech game.
What
Because
do
I'm
you
just like,
think
oh, well,
Michigan
Texas
State-
Tech loses now.
I
I've
just
watched
don't think
the
they can
tournament
score
games.
enough, but apparently they can.
They're
That's what
running
I'm
through
saying.
teams.
Yeah.
They're hot. Who they play last round? They played Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
That game was pretty close.
No, they won by,
I think they only
double
won by
digits.
no. I think they only won by 5.
Ooh, can we look
They
this
won
up?
by 6.
They won by
They
6.
won by 6. Right.
But I think majority of the game they were up by a lot. That's
the
why
game before when they played Michigan,
that was a
that-
complete
they-
blowout.
they blew out Michigan. I think by like 20.
But that Texas Tech game,
Yeah.
they were like, comfortably ahead for majority of the game. I don't think they were ever scared. That's a hot team, and Auburn playing Virginia.
Auburn's
That's a hot
Fire
team.
hot.
If you
And-
look at the teams they beat this tournament,
Impressive.
impressive.
they got a
Yeah.
good resume right now. They
North
just beat
Carolina,
Kentucky,
Kentucky,
Kansas.
Kansas,
Oregon.
Oregon. Woo!
Yeah.
Boy, War Eagle.
The only thing is, sorry, no, they didn't beat Oregon. Virginia beat Oregon.
Yeah, I was like Oregon.
Yeah,
I just
know.
went with you because
Yeah.
it sounded good.
It
sounded
great.
good.
I was
It
like,
sounded
damn,
good.
Oregon
We were just-
I
too?
can't believe you did the whoa on Oregon. 12th
Uh,
seed.
So where I think Auburn has the edge is we've seen it over and over again. Virginia, they're slow starters, very very slow starters. I think if
Yeah.
they come out hard like they can and they play like they can from the tip off, I think Virginia definitely has the advantage.
Only thing that scares me about Auburn is them losing their best scorer to in that North Carolina game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that hurt them a lot. But they're
Hey,
a hot team.
yeah, they're
Now,
hot.
what would that say for Virginia if they go, from 1 year losing literally in the first round to?
well, I think that
Where
just
they
proves
should
that.
have been.
I think that just proves last year was a fluke,
Yeah.
and they just didn't come in with the
Well,
right mindset.
Anytime a first seed loses to 16, I think.
Well, that was
it's
the
a
only
fluke.
time.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why. I
don't
think
make it
it's a
sound like
fluke.
that ever happens. Like that
Anytime.
happens all the time. Yeah, I think they just didn't have, they weren't focused last year. But I think they sometimes they still have lapses in focus where it just doesn't look like they're playing to the best of their ability, specifically in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won by fluke. Actually, Purdue should have won that game. They looked like the better team.
Purdue was the better team, I feel like, and I had them.
They let Virginia
in
come
my
back
Final
into
Four.
the game, man.
hmm Remember, Virginia
Has a talent. so
Virginia had a
that's
hard time beating
why.
Duke. Not Duke, sorry, Purdue. They barely beat Oregon. Matter of fact, I think they were down. Oh no, that was the Oklahoma game. They were down to Oklahoma the entire first half.
And they
Yeah.
were losing to the 16 seed at halftime.
Yeah.
No, they've scraped by this tournament.
Now, granted,
Opposite
in the
of
second
Texas
half,
Tech.
they've looked dominant in all
They
those
look
games.
like Virginia.
They look like Virginia, but I think it's all going to come down to how fast they start.
You know what's the thing I hate mostly about Virginia?
What is it?
Fernando.
Oh, ouch.
For anybody that doesn't know, Fernando calls in and he actually lives in Virginia.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there.
that's why
Yeah.
sometimes he sounds like he's in a garbage can.
I think
that's
it's
where he
because he
lives.
actually is
In a
garbage
garbage,
can.
he actually is a garbage can.
Ooh.
So just a little fun story. So before we went, we started recording, just for the viewers so that they can start seeing the faces behind the voices and all that. We're gonna, on our Twitter and our Instagram, we're gonna be posting like meet the podcasters, photos, little bios and stuff like that. And Doug and myself actually proposed an idea where maybe we just take a group photo with all three of us here, and we get a trash can. We take a picture next to the trash can. We just tag Nando as the trash can.
So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this basura train right now.
I think the train's already left the station.
It stops on this podcast.
No, we're
I
four
think you're
episodes
the
in, bro.
conductor, Nando.
Yeah, you're the conductor of the basura train, bro.
Nah, not at all.
You
That's
can't
fine.
stop you can't stop something a freight train. Don't
So
try.
let's just go into the predictions. So who do you have winning? Auburn, Virginia.
Auburn.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Auburn.
I have Virginia. As
Really?
much shit as I talked about
Yeah.
them, I think Auburn runs out of gas.
Nando.
Do you now wait real quick on Eli? Do you feel like it happens like before, where they start slow in the first half, they get down, and they'll come back in the second
I
half?
think that's what is gonna happen.
That's the way they win. So
Who do you got, Nando?
I mean, I have Michigan State winning it all, but I got.
What are you
Michigan
talking
State.
about? Oh
So
my
this
God.
goes back to what we were saying before we went on air.
I know, but I'm telling you right now.
Nando
I
can
got
never give a
Virginia
straight answer to
winning.
anything.
I just told you I got Virginia winning this game.
No, you didn't
No,
say
you
that.
did
said
not.
Michigan
You
State.
literally-
All
I
right.
said I got Michigan State winning it all, but and then you cut me off.
Yeah, because that's not
relevant.
No one asked
Alright.
about Michigan
that was
State.
like
So you
The
got
second
Michigan State,
question.
Virginia. All right.
He has Michigan State beating Duke, and he got ahead of himself.
no
No.
beating Virginia.
Beating Virginia.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know why I keep doing that. Maybe because
Dude,
Duke
this guy's
election.
in love with Zion. I think that's what it is.
No, we talked about this. I actually don't like Zion that much.
I don't think any of us do.
So he has. You said you have Virginia winning, Nando.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you
So,
have
2-2.
and then you have Michigan State. Okay, let's see how it
I
goes.
got Michigan State too.
I do not. I have Texas Tech.
Okay.
I have Michigan State beating
Ooh.
Virginia.
They have the poise in the end.
So no one besides me thinks that Texas Tech might pull it up.
I haven't watched
Tom-
Texas Tech play.
Tom Izzo's
Like,
gonna-
damn,
I
man.
just think they're the hot team.
they are very hot.
I
but
like to
I'm going
ride the
with-
hot
I'm going with
hand.
Izzo.
I had Michigan State winning it all in the beginning in my tournament challenge, which you guys all shit on me for.
You're still
And
last.
No, I'm not. I'm like 10th place right
I'm
now.
pulling it up right now.
All right,
up.
peep. And I have the potential to win it all
No, you
if Michigan State
No, you
wins
don't.
the championship.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
All right.
There's 3 other people that have a higher max point potential than you.
and I have Michigan State in
All
my
right, but
final as
peep
well.
who they got. They got
Izzo's
most of
gonna
them
yell at
have
them to the
Virginia.
top.
But anyways,
I'm the only one who has Michigan State winning.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw out there that I'm still
just so you guys know,
I'm 6.
3 of the 4 teams left have never won a NCAA title. So it'd be kind of cool if Michigan State does not win because they are the only one who has won. But all the other 3 teams have not won a title, so that'd be kind of cool.
I think it comes down to Texas Tech and Auburn, and I think Texas Tech takes it.
Can you imagine that? Like 6
That's
months
crazy.
ago, you're like, "Hey, Texas Tech, they're winning it all." I
They're
promise
winning
you.
it all.
That's crazy.
I bet no one has them.
The one guy who put $5 on Texas Tech and
Oh,
Michigan.
there
Sure,
must
no,
be-
there's probably
this
some
must
guy
be
that's
love
did
and
put
light.
money on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Probably
they're just
Texas
the
Tech
hot
fan.
hand.
I don't think Texas Tech has been relevant since Michael Crabtree.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
Pat Mahomes. But they weren't
They
relevant.
weren't
Yeah,
even
they weren't
relevant.
relevant.
Yeah. I
Michael
wouldn't even-
Crabtree, right?
Michael
Yeah.
Crabtree. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that kind of wraps it up.
I think that wraps it up for
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
So once again, check us out on our Instagram handles. It's Prospect Talk _ on both Twitter and Instagram. Website's still coming soon.
Coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
But no, definitely be on the lookout for what Danny was mentioning earlier with the post of the bios of us. Should be kind of cool. And please leave comments. Let us know. We need feedback.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the 60-second GM segment.
Yeah, we'll have more segments coming out too. But yes, let us know about
Make-
60-second GM.
Make things real fun. Get a chance to put other people on the spot.
Yeah. And once again, fantasy listeners, we are bringing our DFS podcast real soon. That will be on the website.
Once the site goes live, we
Yeah.
will be doing that as well. So you'll get to listen to our lovely voices for another hour. If
Amazing.
you choose.
I love
Yeah.
listening to myself.
You're welcome.
Gosh.
That's
But this time
Damn,
I
that's
know, yeah.
the most arrogant shit that I think I've heard you say.
He's the most arrogant person I know.
Me too.
Don't tell him that 'cause it's gonna fill up his head.
There's no more to fill. It's full. With that said, thank you for listening, guys. Check us out next week. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.